Hello everyone. Today we are here to discuss the Leetcode Weekly Contest 413. So आज सुबह ही contest हुआ है and it was pretty good. So let's start with the first problem. The first problem says that you are given two strings, coordinate 1 and coordinate 2, representing the coordinates of a square of a 8 cross 8 chessboard. So it's a standard chessboard and below is the chessboard for reference. Return true if these two squares have the same color and false. Otherwise, the coordinate will always represent a valid chessboard. So let's copy this image from here, paste this. So this is basically the first question, and lead code A, and we are given two coordinates, coordinate 1 and coordinate 2, and it will be of form a string like this key A1 C3. So A1 C3 and हमें बताना है कि whether they are of same color or not. So whether they belong to a cell of same color or not. So if we see, इसके अंदर कुछ भी नहीं था यार. यहाँ पर जितने भी corresponding cells हैं, let's suppose this A1 will be this one and C3 will be this one. So yes, they are of same color, तो हमें return करना है 1, otherwise we have to return 0. इसमें कुछ भी नहीं था यार. हम for every character in this string हम इनको एक इंटीजर को मैप कर सकते हैं. दिस a can be mapped to any integer, let's suppose 0, क्योंकि मैंने 0 लेना is pretty easy, and for this one I can map it to 1. and इनका सम क्या होगा? इनका सम है, so basically जितना भी चेसबोर्ड के अंदर होता है all these values follow some pattern कि यार वो कौन से कलर की हैं एंड किस ऑर्डर में है. बिकॉज इफ़ वी सी यहाँ पर 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, अगर हम ऐसे नंबरिंग दे लें then 1 plus 1 is what? 2 is even. So even वाले are black in this case and odd ones will be white, and this even and odd is nothing but sum of x comma y. Similarly 2 plus 2 is even, so it's black. 2 plus 1 is odd, then it's white. So this is the major pattern which a chessboard follows. So हमें basically दोनों string के characters को कुछ value मैप करनी है and check whether it's odd or even. So if both values are odd, if both are same, now we are talking about coordinates, if both are same then we have to return 1, otherwise 0. So the main idea behind this problem was this, and मैंने यहाँ पर for a I hadn't mapped it to 1, जैसा हमने यहाँ डिस्कस करा. I had mapped it to 0 क्योंकि वो मेरे को मैप करना easy है. by just doing a minus character a I will get 0 and so on up till h. ये मुझे easily मिल जाएंगे. and my cases were different. So in my case even was white and odd was black. So that's just the difference, and इससे हमें ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ता ही नहीं है क्योंकि we just want to consider कि दोनों even है या दोनों odd. So let's see the code for this. So this was the code for this problem. After taking all these values out, I know here if my column 1 plus row 1 is odd or even, ये मैंने एक फ्लैग में स्टोर करा लिया. and similarly my column 2 plus row 2 is odd or even, ये मैंने एक फ्लैग में स्टोर करा लिया. if they are equal then 1, otherwise 0. So this was the code for the first problem. Let's move on to the second one. आज first two questions are pretty easy. So there is a infinite 2D plane. You are given a positive integer k and you are also given a 2D array queries. which contains the following queries. Query is of the form x comma y, and build an obstacle at coordinate x comma y in the plane, and it is guaranteed that there is no obstacle in this coordinate when this query is made. After each query, you need to find the distance of the kth nearest obstacle from the origin and retain the integer array results, which denotes here after kth query what was the result. If there aren't enough obstacles, the result would be -1 for that query. Otherwise जो होगा that will be the answer. So let's try to understand this, what was given in the question. So basically in question 2 we are given with a plane. This is the origin 0 comma 0, and यहाँ distance is not the Euclidean distance. The distance of any coordinate is just the absolute sum of both the values. So basically they will be nothing but in the first quadrant itself. So we have these queries 1 comma 2 3 comma 4. So the first query is 1 comma 2. So let's put an obstacle at 1 comma 2. After this query we need to return कि यार kth nearest obstacle from the origin कौन सा है. We don't have here k is equal to 2, and we don't have k obstacles till now, so the answer for this query is -1. Again the second query comes with the value 3 comma 4. It is nothing but 3 comma 4 somewhere here. So after this हमें clearly visible है कि यार this is the distance जो मेरे clearly visible है, sorry kth nearest है, kth nearest in the sense kth nearest obstacle बताना है. So this was the first nearest, this is the second nearest, so my answer would be this, and for this my distance is 4 plus 3 7. So the answer for second query is 7. Let's see the next query. Before that let's erase this thing. Okay, so third query is in the form 2 comma 3. 2 comma 3 कहाँ place करेंगे? 2 comma 3 will lie somewhere here. So let's write the distance for each of them. 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, and 7. So we have to determine the kth nearest. So first nearest is this, second nearest is this, and third nearest is this. So we need to return the second nearest. Now second nearest is at distance 5, so the answer for this query is 5, and another value comes which is -3 comma 0. So -3 comma 0, so it would lie in this quadrant at this point, -3 comma 0. And for to calculate the distance, its distance is also 3. So in this case the second nearest could be this or this, because हम किसी को भी पहले consider कर सकते हैं. So in both the cases my distance will be 3 after this query. So my final answer would be 1 comma 7 comma 5 comma sorry -1 comma 7 comma 5 comma 3. So this is the answer. So I hope the question is clear to us. अब कभी भी क्वेश्चन इस फॉर्म में आए, kth nearest, largest, or any of this form, so there might be a possibility that it is a standard question of priority queue, and यहाँ पर भी यही था. Priority queue is nothing but simply a data structure which maintains our data in any of the sorted order in min heap or max heap, and using that functionality we can maintain कि यार हम largest value or the smallest value up till kth हम उसको get कर सकते हैं in order of 1. So that is what needed here, क्योंकि queries can go up to 10 to the power 5, and we don't want to waste our time in getting the answer for each query. So instead of just going and getting the answer for each query, what we'll do, we'll maintain a priority queue. Let's suppose this is our priority queue. Whenever we get a coordinate of the form x comma y, we will calculate a distance from it. Distance is nothing but the absolute value of both of them. So this priority queue will be a max heap. So the property of max heap is that we will get the maximum element at the top. And what we'll do, we'll try to maintain size is equal to k. सो एट मैक्स हम इसका के साइज जाने देंगे सो दैट वेनेवर हमें कोई क्वेरी को आंसर करना पड़े सो इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग एंड फाइंडिंग कि यार क्या आंसर होगा फॉर पर्टिकुलर दिस क्वेरी विल जस्ट लुक एट द टॉप अगर के साइज की है एंड amongst these k values my max element will be at the top, so it's pretty easy for me to access it. So in this case, if our priority queue का size it's less than k, then directly push the value. Otherwise, if it's equal to k and or it gets greater than is equal to k, it won't get, but if it's is equal to k, then just pops out the largest value. But before that, check whether this distance is less than our top value. If this is the case, तो यार जो मेरे current distance है that could be a possible answer amongst these, but जो top पे है वो तो नहीं होने वाला for sure. So take it out and instead of that put the new distance in. So in this case we'll just pop the top element plus we will push our new distance, and after every query we know our answer for this query lies at the top. So this was the major idea to maintain a priority queue of size k, and whenever we encounter a query we check the distance, and if that distance is less than the top value, then in that case हम बड़ी value को निकालेंगे and छोटा distance will put into the priority queue, and priority queue will internally manage कि यार amongst those k values it will get the top element, the largest element at the top, and that would be the answer for our query. So let's see the code for this problem also. So we had just initialized an vector with answer and a priority queue pq. By default it's a max heap, so for every query queue will calculate the distance, that will be this, and if the size of the priority queue is less than k, then we'll just put this distance into our priority queue. Otherwise we'll check here is it less than or greater than the topmost value in the priority queue. If it's less than that, in that case हम बड़ी value को निकालेंगे and we'll put this current distance into it, and if the size of priority queue is greater than k, then we will get the value from the top. Otherwise the answer for that query is -1. So this was the code for second problem and it got accepted, so we don't need to get it submitted again. Let's move on to the third problem. This was the major problem जिसने आज दिमाग खराब करा during the contest. So the question is pretty simple. Let's copy this image from here only and I'll explain कि यार क्या कह रहा है question, and काफ़ी major learning भी है from this question. Although the constraints were very less, but still people ended up getting a lot of TLE. Oh sorry, question C. So question says that you are given a grid. What you can do, you can select basically this is a n cross m grid, and you can select one element from each row to make a set. Basically हमें एक set बनाना है of values, and we can select one element from each row but cannot select same values from two rows. सेम वैल्यू को हम दो रोज से नहीं ले सकते. सो इफ अगर हम यहाँ से वन ले लेते हैं, then in that case we cannot take this one or this one from any other row. So this is what were the two conditions. Here no two elements selected in the cells are in the same row of matrix. So basically we do have to select one element from each row. ऐसा नहीं है कि we take this 4 and this 3 also. No, it's not possible. And the value in the set of the selected cells are unique. The second condition, that we cannot select same values from two rows. So इसके बाद हमें एक set maintain करना है, and the maximum sum of that set that we can get, ये हमें return करना from the question, from the function. So this was the question. Pretty easy, pretty clear. Let's see the constraints. Constraints तो बड़े नहीं है, नहीं यार. Constraints are like कि भाई this n can go up to 10, this m can go up to 10, and any value can go up to 100. So it was pretty clear. the constraints भी बड़े नहीं है. So in this case अगर हम देखें कि maximum sum हमें कैसे मिल रहा है, we can take this 3 value. So basically in my set I have 3. So from next row either I can take 4, 3, 2, any of them, but to get the maximum, let's take the maximum one. And from the third row we don't even have any option. Then this is the maximum sum that we can get for particular this. But let's take the, in this case there might be a possibility कि हम 8 लें, because 8 is the maximum one. Let's suppose we had taken 8. So from the second row we cannot take this 8. We either have to take 3 or 2. So let's suppose हमने 3 लिया. So the maximum that we could get is 8 plus 3 is 11. But what if we had taken 7 from the first row? Then in that case I can take any of these values from the second row. So I will take 8, and this will result me to get the maximum value, which would be 15. So for the second test case the answer is 15. तो हमें समझ में आ रहा है कि यार we cannot take greedily. यहीं से क्लियर हो जाना चाहिए था कि we cannot take greedily. तो इसके बाद हमारे पास क्या ऑप्शन बचता है? फॉर शॉर्ट डीपी. एंड इतने छोटे कंस्ट्रेंट्स के बाद इट वाज प्रीटी क्लियर कि यार ये डीपी विद बिट मास्क है. बट इवन दो आफ्टर यूजिंग डीपी विद बिट मास्क इट वाज गिविंग TLE. I literally got TLE on test case 513, I guess. That was the major bottleneck test case जहाँ पर TLE आ रहा था even after using DP, because in that case there are total 10 rows and columns, and for that we also have different values. So either you will get into a wrong answer अगर आप states ढंग से compute नहीं करोगे, and if you compute the states wisely you will land into a TLE. So after the contest I got to know कि यार instead of just iterating over the grid and calculating the answer, we can do a little bit of optimization. Because of that our time complexity gets reduced to a better time complexity and it got accepted. So the major idea is हम क्या कर सकते हैं? We can take, so DP with bit masking is nothing यार कि यार bit mask कुछ नहीं है. Bit mask basically, let's suppose it's a string which denotes कि यार हमने if there is an array corresponding to this. So ये denote करता है कि whether we had taken this object into consideration or not. So this is the bit mask and nothing more than that. And अगर for this we can even maintain a vector of boolean type कि यार हमने इसको consider करा या नहीं, but we cannot memorize or use this as a state in DP. So to get this as a state in DP, what we can do instead of maintaining a vector of boolean type on array of integers, we can have a integer itself and use its binary. Okay, so we can have an integer and use its binary form to get state and to get selection, more specifically कि हमने इसको select करा या नहीं, and use its decimal form as state. So this is the bit masking and nothing else. So ये हमें थोड़ा सा convenient पड़ जाता है in DP to store the states. That's why we use bit mask. And in this case, there can be some different states, but the major idea is to make a state like this: DP of value comma mask, which denotes max value we can get after taking max value we can get up to value val with this mask. And mask is nothing here. Mask will denote a state which tells that whether any row is already taken or not. So basically ये meant इस वजह से हम यूज करेंगे कि if we had taken a value from a particular row, let's suppose हमने इस row से एक value ले ली, so we don't want again to get into this row और इससे एक value ले लें. So for that हम क्या करेंगे, if we take any value हम उसको 1 मार्क कर देंगे, so that कि यार हमने इससे ले लिया already, don't take any other value from this particular state. So this was the particular state which initially everyone has might get into, but after computing this value and mask brute forcefully, this is was resulting into TLE. So the major twist or optimization in this problem was to store indexes, or basically to store rows against every value. अब मैं ये क्या कह रहा हूँ, let's suppose for this particular row 876832, if we take this grid 876832, so this was row 1, this is the row 2. So basically the total values are 2 only exists in row 2. Alright, so this is nothing but a value against all the rows they are present in. So 3 is only present in the second row, 4 is not present, 5 is not present, 6 is present in the row 1, 7 is present in the row 2, 8 is present in the row first and second both. So now if we look into our state कि our dp of value comma mask, so basically from mask we get to know कि यार we whether we had taken any row. So this mask will give us the information whether this particular row is taken or not, and इसमें कितनी स्पेस है ये टू स्टोर ऑल ऑफ दिस मास्क. बेसिकली आवर n is up to 10, so basically 2 to the power n 10. so इसमें तो कोई इशू है ही नहीं क्योंकि ये तो इंटीजर की रेंज से भी बहुत कम है. इंटीजर की रेंज होती है 2 to the power 32, ये उससे भी बहुत नीचे है. सो वी कैन ईजिली स्टोर दैट. तो मास्क बनाने में हमें इशू आएगा ही नहीं कभी. बट इनिशियली सम पीपल आर मेकिंग मास्क ऑफ द वैल्यूज जो हमने ले ली है, एंड दैट इज गोइंग अप टू 2 to the power 100. बट ये तो पॉसिबल नहीं है टू स्टोर इवन इन द लॉन्ग रेंज. दैट कैन गो अप टू 2 to the power 64, and making a bit set of size 100 is resulting into MLE. So there were different bottleneck test cases for different constraints. तो हमें बिल्कुल ऑप्टिमाइज सॉल्यूशन देना था टू गेट एक्सेप्टेड. एंड यहाँ पर हम रोज को एज अ बिट मास्क यूज कर सकते हैं इंस्टेड ऑफ यूजिंग वैल्यूज. एंड इफ वी हैड स्टोर्ड दीज इंडेक्सेस अगेंस्ट एवरी वैल्यू, तो हमें क्या करना है, वी कैन आइटरेट ओवर दिस कि यार आई आइटरेटेड ऑन सेकेंड, एंड आई कैन से कि in any case I can take 2 and I can drop 2. so this is nothing but a pick not pick dp case. अगर मैं 2 को लेता हूँ, so I cannot take any value from the second row. so if I take 2, I cannot take any from value from the row 2. so in that case मैं क्या करूँगा, अपने मास्क में रो को मार्क कर दूंगा इफ आई टेक, एंड लेट्स राइट इट हियर ओनली कि यार इस केस में हम क्या करेंगे. सो इस केस में हम क्या करेंगे, व्हाट विल डू, वी विल मार्क दिस रो इनटू द मास्क, एंड हम इसको 1 सेट कर देंगे कि यार हमने इसको ले लिया. डोंट कंसिडर दिस इन एनी ऑफ द अदर केसेस. अदरवाइज वी इफ वी हैडंट टेकन एनीथिंग, तो यार मास्क रिमेन सेम. एंड इससे प्रिजर्व क्या होगा, हमारी रो वाली कंडीशन यहाँ प्रिजर्व हो गई, सो दैट वी टेक ओनली सिंगल वैल्यू फ्रॉम एनी रो. एंड सेकंड कंडीशन क्या थी कि वी कैन ओनली टेक वन टाइप ऑफ वैल्यू. सपोज इफ देयर आर 2 8s प्रेजेंट इन बोथ द रोज, वी कैन नॉट टेक देम. सो मैं क्या करूँगा, इफ आई एम टेकिंग 8, I won't consider any of the further rows. And similarly, if I am taking not taking 8, then I can again take this value again. So for this particular state, dp of value and mask, there are 2 possibilities. If this value exists, तो मैं इसको टेक ले सकता हूँ. अदरवाइज नॉट टेक वाली स्टेट तो हमेशा अवेलेबल है. इन द नॉट टेक पार्ट, माई वैल्यू विल बी इंक्रीज बाय 1 एंड माई मास्क रिमेन्स सेम. बट इफ आई एम टेकिंग एनी वैल्यू, सो व्हाट आई विल डू, अब ये पॉसिबिलिटी है इन दिस केस, अगर हम फर्स्ट रो से 8 को ले रहे थे, सो वी कैन नॉट से कि यार फर्स्ट रो से 8 को लेकर के हमारा काम चल जाएगा एंड वील गेट टू अ आंसर जो हमें मैक्सिमम यील्ड करे. क्योंकि यहाँ हमने देखा था इफ़ वी आर टेकिंग फर्स्ट फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो, हमारे पास यहाँ पे 2 ही ऑप्शन बचते हैं. एंड इफ़ वी टेक 8 फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो, तो हम 7 ले सकते हैं फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट रो, विच वॉज द मैक्सिमम आंसर. सो जितनी भी रोज की पॉसिबिलिटीज़ हैं फिर हमें उन्हें भी चेक करना पड़ेगा. सो इफ़ द वैल्यू एग्जिस्ट, In that case, for every row, take value and mark row in mask. So this was a pretty simple state of dp bit masking. So if हम clearly लिखें यहाँ पे that dp of value and mask will transit in a way that either don't take the value, in that case our answer will be from the state this, and if we are taking this value, then dp of value plus 1 mask basically with set row r plus value. So this was the transition for this problem, and before this हमें एक map fill करना है which is of the form integer comma vector int to store values and indexes against each other. अगर हम ये दो काम कर लेते हैं तो we'll get our answer easily. Let's see the code for this problem. So basically, after taking the n and m as the row and columns, I had initialized a dp array where I had maintained. So basically मेरी ये states उल्टी हैं. So it was mask and value instead of value and mask. So I had initialized the mask with 1 to the power 1 right left shift n times, which is nothing. This 1 left shift n is just 2 to the power n. So these two things are same, and my max value can go up to 100. So I had initialized the dp with 101, and this is nothing but map of integer and vector int type, where we will store here for particular any value which row will this value exist in, and हम अपनी grid पे traverse करेंगे and will fill this index map कि for this particular grid ij value it exists in ith row. And उसके बाद मैंने एक function बनाया है with the name f which takes two parameters mask and value, and if my value goes greater than 100, so in that case okay, so if my value goes greater than 100, so in that case I'll return 0. This is nothing but the base case, and if my dp of mask and value is already calculated, then I'll just return it. And initially my answer is this: if I am ignoring this current element, then mask will remain same and value is +1. And for every row for this particular value in this index map, if वो particular row unmarked है, वो हम कैसे check करेंगे? So basically हम mask को ऐसे check करते हैं. So let's suppose if this is the mask or this is the number in the form binary and this is the row r, हमें check करना है whether is it set or not. हम क्या करेंगे? Initially if we write 1 in binary, वो कुछ ऐसा होता है. This is 1 in binary. So what we will do, हम इस 1 को लेफ्ट शिफ्ट करेंगे r टाइम्स, एंड लेफ्ट शिफ्ट का मतलब होता है दिस वन विल मूव r टाइम्स टू दिस. बेसिकली यहाँ पे r1 है, सो दिस वन विल मूव टू दिस पोजीशन, दिस विल बी 0. सो इस कुछ फॉर्म में आ जाएगी हमारी ये वैल्यू. एंड आफ्टर दिस इफ वी एंड दीज टू वैल्यूज, एंड का मतलब होता है कि यार इफ बोथ 1 देन 1 अदरवाइज 0. सो ये कुछ इस तरीके से आ जाएगा, and we'll get this bit out कि यार ये whether it is 1 or whether it is 0. So this is the way to check if any bit is set in the mask or not. So यहाँ पे हमने check करा if our mask is not set, so basically this there isn't any element from this particular row जो इससे पहले कभी consider हुआ है. So we can take this element from particular this row. Then my answer is max of particular answer and value which is the current value plus f of, अब हमें इस value को set करना है, so we can set it by taking or with the same one left shifted by row times and value plus 1. So after this we can return answer, and मैंने answer को basically dp of mask value dp of mask comma value के reference variable से initialize कर लिया था, so I don't have to write dp of mask comma value here, and just initialize your dp with -1, and our answer for this problem will be starting from 0th value, and initially my mask is all 0, so that no value is taken into consideration yet. So this was the code for this problem, and this works. I hope this problem is clear to you guys and you had understood the code also. So let's quickly move to the last problem. ये भी DP का काफ़ी अच्छा प्रॉब्लम था. I wasn't able to get C during the time, but yes, T हो गया था. So it says that you are given array nums of n integers and a 2D array queries of size this q, where every query is in the form L comma R, and for every query you must maximize XOR score of any subarray this, and score is calculated with this process. So let me explain it here. So it says that we will be, for problem D, we will be given an integer array nums, okay, and there are q queries of the form L comma R, and we have to return the maximum XOR score, okay, max XOR score of all sub arrays between nums of L comma R. इसके बीच में जितने भी सब arrays बनेंगी उनका जो max XOR sum है या जो XOR score है उसमें से जो max value है वो हमें रिटर्न करनी है. अब XOR score क्या होता है, इन्होंने एक्सप्लेन करा हुआ है कि what is XOR score. So XOR score is nothing basically if we have an array of size n. Let's take an example कि यार 4 size की array. So in this वो कह रहे हैं XOR score will be calculated in a way कि you take simultaneously replace ai with ai XOR ai plus 1 for all indexes I except the last one. तो हर वैल्यू पे for this particular index I will replace it with this, then second index will be replaced by this value, third index will be replaced by this value except the last one. उन्होंने बोला है except the last one and remove the last element of a. तो if we remove the last element of a तो वो कुछ ऐसा बन जाएगा, and we will repeatedly do this operation until only single element is left in this array, and जो भी वो single element बचेगा that is the XOR score of our array. तो this is the question कि यार हमें L और R given होगा, and for every query हमें max XOR निकालना है of all sub arrays and उसका आंसर रिटर्न कराना है for every query, that what will the max XOR of all sub arrays between the range L and R. Okay, so if we take the example of this question, let's copy it from here. So initially what it was saying कि यार 2 8 4 32 16 1 ये आपकी array है, and the very first query is this 0 comma 2. So this is basically L, this is the R, and all these subarrays from this range 2 8 4 will be the individual arrays, 2 comma 8 comma 4, then subarrays of size 2 comma 8, then subarrays of size 3, which will be like this. इन सब का जितना भी मैक्स जॉर स्कोर आएगा, we have to take maximum of all of them. So if we take यार इन सब का जॉर स्कोर क्या होने वाला है फॉर सिंगल एलिमेंट एरे, द जॉर स्कोर itself, इसका 8, इसका 4, and 2 XOR 8 is I guess 10. Let's see. Yes, 10. 8 XOR 4 is 12. And initially शायद डाउट हुआ हो किसी किसी को कि how the XOR score of this is turning out to be 6, but वो इस प्रोसेस के थ्रू अगर आप देखोगे तो you will get to know कि why the XOR score is coming out to be 12. तो इसमें बेसिकली क्या होगा, initially these two will be XOR together, which will yield 10, then these two will be XOR together, which will give us 12, and this will be removed from the array. Then 10 and 12 will be XOR together, they will give 6, and 12 will be removed. So this is the final answer, and this is the XOR score of this subarray. So amongst these all subarrays, the max XOR that we could get is this. So for particular this query, our answer is 12. If we see our first query answer is 12. So this is how the question will work. But if we realize कि यार हम अगर constraints भी देखें, so the constraints are कि यार nums of length can go up to 2000 and queries can go up to 10 to the power 5. So basically, if we think of a brute solution, let's assume that we can get answer for every query in O of n. ये लाना possible नहीं है, but let's assume कि by brute way we can get the answer for every query in O of n by traversing on the range. So इस केस में time complexity कितनी होगी? Time complexity would be q into order of n, because there are total q queries, and for every query I take O of n to answer it. But will this work? Will this work? नहीं, क्योंकि ये already 10 to the power 5 है, and this is 2 into 10 to the power 3. So this is not gonna work. जबकि हमें पता है कि ये भी possible नहीं है, but if we take the best case, उसके बाद भी this is not gonna work. So ये भी हमें पता है we cannot reduce queries. जो queries हैं हम इसको तो eliminate कर ही नहीं सकते यहाँ से. We cannot eliminate this q factor from here. तो हमें जो भी हमारा query time है उसको either we can get into log n or order of 1. तभी this solution is gonna work. So to get a answer for every query in O of n, let's try to get a idea कि यार how this XOR score can be found out easily. ये check करते हैं. So let's see. Let's take an example. Let's take some random values x, y, z and a. Is this enough? Yes, चलो इतना देते हैं. ठीक है. So let's take, this is the array, let's take the XOR score of this array. वो क्या आएगा? If we take the XOR score, initially it would be x XOR y, y XOR z, and z हट जाएगा. Then these two will be XOR together, it will be x XOR y, z, and XOR of same numbers is nothing but they get cancelled out, and the final answer is nothing but x XOR z. ठीक है, तो हमें यहाँ से समझ में आ गया for this particular x y z सब array मेरा स्कोर आएगा this. What if let's take this one. अगर हम इसको लेते हैं, then in this case this will be y or z comma z or a and a हट जाएगा and इन दोनों को XOR करेंगे so it will y or z XOR z XOR a so यहाँ पे same elements in z they will be cancelled out so y XOR z so यहाँ पर मेरा आंसर आया this which is the answer of x y z यहाँ पर मेरा आंसर आया this which is the answer of y z a now let's consider कि यार अगर इन पूरे का हम निकालते तो how will this work for this whole array the score will function like this कि यार इन दोनों का जोर आएगा पहले like x और y y और z z और a ठीक है सिमिलरली a यहाँ से रिमूव हो जाएगा अगेन इट विल बी x और y और y और z then y और z और z और a and this will be removed अगेन अगर इन लोगों को हम थोड़ा सा क्लियर करके लिखें तो दिस इज नथिंग बट दिस एंड दिस इज नथिंग बट दिस अब अगर हम यहाँ पर देख रहे हैं तो इज दिस नथिंग बट सेम यार कि यार ये एक्स वाई दो फाइनल आंसर मेरा बनेगा देन दिस वुड बी दिस एंड इसके अंदर मुझे समझ में आ रहा है कि दिस इज नथिंग बट माई आंसर फॉर दिस एक्स वाई जेड and this is nothing this is my answer for yz a इन दो छोटे पार्ट्स का आंसर is computing the answer for my bigger array so instead of calculating score redundantly मुझे पता है मेरी single array basically if there is single element उसका आंसर क्या है the answer for this is nothing but the element itself because उसमें तो मेरे को और करना ही नहीं किसी से but if let's suppose I need to get a answer within the range this so this is nothing but मुझे अभी समझ में आया कि यार I से स्टार्टिंग होने वाली up till j-1 जो भी सब एरे बनेगी XORed with dp of I plus 1 एंड jth इंडेक्स तक इस फॉर्म में अगर मैं आंसर निकालता हूँ तो इट वुड बी मोर इजी फॉर मी टू कैलकुलेट द XOR स्कोर सो मैं इस तरीके से अपना स्कोर निकाल लेता हूँ बट देयर इज ऑल्सो कंस्ट्रेंट कि यार इससे मेरा XOR स्कोर क्या आएगा इसमें मेरा XOR स्कोर आएगा दिस कि एक्स वाई जेड एंड ए मेरे पास XOR स्कोर इसका आ जाएगा वेरी इजीली बट क्या मुझे इसका XOR स्कोर चाहिए or do I need to get the max XOR score of each subarray in this range मुझे सिर्फ इसका नहीं चाहिए ना क्या पता if after taking the XOR वो वैल्यू रिड्यूस हो रही हो एंड इफ मैं कोई छोटी सबैरे का XOR कंसिडर करता तो वो वैल्यू बड़ी होती तो फॉर दैट मैं ये नहीं कह सकता दिस इज द आंसर फॉर एनी क्वेरी आई कैन नॉट डायरेक्टली से दिस तो मुझे बेसिकली करना क्या पड़ेगा इसको सारी सबएरेज का आंसर मंगाना पड़ेगा बट इंस्टेड ऑफ गेटिंग इनटू दिस ऑल द सबएरेज मैं क्या करता हूँ जस्ट गेट द आंसर फॉर दिस और देयर माइट बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि यार एक ये आंसर मैं एक्सीड कर रहा हूँ हो सकता है ना कि क्या पता यहीं तक कुछ मैक्स आंसर एग्जिस्ट करता हो एंड देयर माइट बी अनदर पॉसिबिलिटी कि यहाँ तक कुछ मैक्स आंसर एग्जिस्ट करता हो तो जनरली हम जो डीपी में करते हैं टेक नॉट टेक सो इफ़ दिस इज़ माई ith इंडेक्स मैं इसको एक बार निगलेक्ट करा के देख लेता हूँ सो इन दैट केस एच फॉर्म में आ जाऊँगा एंड दिस इज़ माई jth इंडेक्स अगर मैं इसको निगलेक्ट करा के देख लेता हूँ तो मैं इस स्टेट तक आ जाऊँगा एंड फ्रॉम बोथ ऑफ देम जो भी मेरा मैक्स होगा उसको मैं इस स्टेट से ही मैक्स करा के देख लेता हूँ क्या पता आई हैव टू टेक बोथ ऑफ देम टुगेदर सो इन तीनों एरियाज में से जो भी मैक्स होगा दैट वुड बी माई फाइनल आंसर सो बेसिकली what I am doing here, my dp of ij will be nothing but my max of, I am just writing the indexes here. Here I j originally either not take the first element in consideration and either ignore the last element. So इन तीनों में से जिसका भी मैक्स होगा that would be my answer. तो अब मैं ये कह सकता हूँ for particular L, R I am storing my result in dp L, R and I can answer any query in order of 1. तो इस तरीके से अगर हम कंप्यूट करेंगे so it would be more easy for us to get to the answer. So let's see the code for this. So just maintain a vector dp of n comma n size. So the major idea is कि यार हम ना while answering any query मैं कोई ऑपरेशन नहीं परफॉर्म कर सकता. So can I just pre-compute my answer for every sub-array? Sub-arrays कितनी बनेंगी? Sub-arrays if I take n as length in the worst case and n sub-arrays, so the total time complexity to make to get the score of every sub-array is this n square. This is nothing but 2 into 10 to the power 3 into 2 into 10 to the power 3, which is 4 into 10 to the power 6. So it is allowed to take this much operations, plus we will be iterating on every query and taking order of 1 to answer them. Then this would be nothing but 10 to the power 5. So my total time complexity is this, and this will be easily accepted क्योंकि at max worst case में it would go up to 10 to the power 6 and this is easily acceptable. So what we will do कि यार बेस केस क्या होगा, यहाँ पे हमने देखा था for single elements, yes, for single element my answer is the element itself. So I'll iterate on every element and dp of I comma I will be the element itself. Then I'll iterate on from length 2 till length less than n, and my starting point will be 0, and this is the condition कि यार मैं check करूँ कि from particular this index and जितना भी मेरी आगे की length होने वाली है whether it's in my scope or not. If it's not, then I'll break out from this loop. Otherwise I know my end is this start and end point, and this is how we will fill our dp initially, and this will be just score of range start to end, but we do need to consider the maximum of them also. And so यहाँ पर हम क्या करेंगे, max score of all sub arrays in start comment. इस प्रोसेस से हम ये भी जस्टिफाई करा लेंगे, एंड दिस इज नथिंग जो अभी हमने डिस्कस करा. सेम लूप्स विल वर्क हेयर ओनली, बट यहाँ पे जो मैक्सिमम होगा इट विल बी स्टार्ट एंड -1 इग्नोरिंग द लास्ट एलिमेंट, start plus 1 end ignoring the first element and the original array itself. इन तीनों में से जो भी मैक्स होगा we'll take it, and for every query my answer is nothing but dp of L, R. So this is how this question can be done easily, and I hope you had understood the question and the solutions for all the four problems. So thank you so much for joining.